Hi and welcome everybody to the Fertility podcast, where you will be empowered to learn how to thrive and conceive with endometriosis. If you want to understand more about your endometriosis, how it can affect your fertility, and how you can personally take action to optimize your health and life, then this is the place for you. I am your host, Lizzie Alexander, founder of the Fertility Specialist. As a doctor of marine ecology turned integrated nutrition health coach and holistic massage therapist, I bring a unique perspective to our discussions. Most importantly, I know what it's like to experience chronic fatigue and endo and struggle for years with primary and secondary infertility. I am now a super busy, thriving military wife, business owner and mother of an adorable little boy. Join me every Wednesday as I dive into topics that will support and guide you, from knowledge about endo and conceiving to nutrition, lifestyle and mindset, pain management to assisted fertility support, functional nutrition and testing, and much more. This podcast is designed to enhance your knowledge so you can explore the whys behind your endo and fertility struggles, whilst moving forwards towards thriving and conceiving. Please note that this is not meant to replace your current medical advice. Together, we will explore a holistic approach to healing that equips you with a toolbox full of diverse strategies to help you manage your endo and enhance your fertility journey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy listening. This episode is brought to you by my Ultimate Endo Fertility Library, available through the Endo Fertility app. This app, available on Apple and Google Play, makes it super easy to access valuable resources and courses right on your phone, even offline, making it perfect for meditations and travel. Inside the free library, you will find essential first steps to support your healing journey, including a quick start ebook, symptom tracker, delicious recipes, workbooks, guided meditations, and other helpful resources. So make sure to check out the show notes for the link to start exploring these resources today. Hello, my beautiful community. Happy New Year. Welcome to the first episode of 2025. I'm so grateful you're here with me today as we step into this new year together. So today we're going to do something really special. We're going to reflect on our journey through 2024 and create a powerful vision for 2025. Now, I don't know how your last couple of weeks has been, whether you tried listening to the meditation podcast episode on Christmas Day, and I have been thinking of you all through this quite difficult time. It can be a time, like I said, of mixed emotions. There will be joyful moments, and there will also be times of sadness and guilt and fear and all sorts of emotions, and that will have been hard. So if you're still feeling those and you're still wanting support around that, do go and check out the last episode, the Christmas Day special. You don't have to listen to it. It doesn't have to be Christmas Day. You can listen to it whenever you like. And I will be putting it on the Endo Fertility app so that you can listen to it offline, online, whenever it is that you need it. So that'll be in the free podcast element, which I need to update anyway. So I know that living with endometriosis while trying to conceive can feel really overwhelming. And sometimes it might seem like our bodies are working against us. But today we're going to try and shift that narrative and become architects of our own healing journey. And this is when it can be really hopeful at the beginning of the year. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. I actually don't like the pressure per se, because you don't have to do anything, but there is something about a new beginning. And we have new beginnings every month. There is that disappointment when our period starts, when we're trying to conceive, but equally it is a new beginning. It's a new beginning of the next cycle. That hope that this cycle will be the cycle we get pregnant, hope that this cycle will be a better cycle, that our uterine lining will be better, the quality of our egg will be better. And so therefore I think it is good to have these kind of like new starts, a new way to look at. And that's what the new year brings. It brings that opportunity to bring hope, to start some things that maybe we've been putting off, reflect on what has not worked before. So we're going to go through that. So before we dive into our vision of 2025, of creating what we would like to happen this year, let's take a moment to honor your journey through 2024. So I suggest you grab a journal. Yes, like literally right now, and you can come back and you can pause it, because I think I'd quite like this to be kind of like an interactive one, a bit like when I do a session with my clients, when I've done it with my beta membership group as well. So let's reflect together. I really want you to think about these questions. What were your biggest victories this year? And I know you're probably thinking, victory, did I have any victories? But remember, victories, wins, they come in all sizes. Maybe you finally found a doctor or healthcare provider that really listened to you. You know, did you get a diagnosis that you've been pushing for ages? Have you got to a point in your fertility journey where you're like, I realize that you can do, there's things that you can control? Have you taken a step like deciding you're going for IVF, or you've been waiting for ages for IVF and you've started to do that? So there are wins. Have you decided that you're going to cut out gluten? You've managed to do that, and then your cycle starts to feel better. So go back over those victories, however small they are. And perhaps it's just that you started listening to your body's signals more effectively because you've come across this podcast, you come across Instagram or Facebook, and you have identified things that you weren't aware of before, and you're starting to feel more connected with your body. So wherever you are on that journey, write down what were your biggest wins of last year, and they can be little as well. And lots of little wins make a bigger win as well. So if there are any little wins, write those down too. So the next question, and you can always have paused there whilst you're still writing, but I'm going to go on to the next question here. What practices or habits have served you well? This can be anything from your morning meditation to the evening walk that's helped with your pain management, bringing in a certain food or supplement, anything, connecting with a certain person, finding a community. So what habits have served you well? Thirdly, what did you learn about yourself this year? About your body, about your resilience? Have you had strength? Or have you found it's just been too difficult and you've needed to take a break and step away from it? And it is really important to look back and see what you've learned about yourself this year, because you will have learned something. So take that time to see what the learning point out of some of those challenges have been. You will have hit a brick wall. There will be things where you've not understood why they've happened. But if you look back at how you dealt with that and how you came through that, sometimes it gives you an idea of what you've learned. And then the fourth one is, what didn't serve you? Maybe it might be negative self-talk. And it's not about being positive, wholly positive. It's just sometimes we can get into this perpetual cycle with how we think. It could be pushing yourself too hard when your body needed rest. It could have been pushing for too much perfection. And that's also not working. That's quite an easy thing for particularly A-type people. Most of my clients are A-types, where we strive for perfection. So if you found that, you've read and understand about nutrition around endometriosis and you're doing an anti-inflammatory diet, you've given up gluten and dairy, and you're trying to be perfect, but it's too hard and you found it very difficult. Has this served you? Which bits of this served you? Has there been times where you could have had some flexibility around that? Would you be better with the 80-20 principle? Did you do something in your journey that actually you wouldn't do again? Did you do IVF and you're not ready to carry on? Did you go and see a doctor or a practitioner that's not listened to you, and you need to take the steps where you find someone who is going to be better suited to you? So what didn't serve you that you want to leave behind? So take a moment to write down your answers. Like I said, pause it. This isn't just about looking back, because it's about gathering the wisdom that you have gained to move forward into next year. So then part 2 of this podcast is about shifting your narrative in your head, shifting that story of how you talk about to yourself. So the story that we tell ourselves, I see this so often in our community, in myself as well, that we can get stuck in what you call a victim narrative. I don't particularly like the word victim, but it's this negative self-talk. And you probably know the ones like, I've tried everything and nothing works. Why doesn't that work for me? Why does it work for other people? A classic one with endometriosis is, my body's broken. It's my fault that we're not getting pregnant. I'll never be able to have a baby. All of this negative self-talk is not helping your mindset. It's not helping your physical body. So today we're going to shift these stories. So it's not about, like I said, it's not about being incredibly overly positive, but it's about reframing the way you talk about yourself. So instead of being a victim of circumstance, you're going to become your own health advocate. Okay, there are things that you can control. One of those is how you speak to yourself and how you believe in yourself. Okay. So your new story, the new way that you might be talking about to yourself is, I'm on my own unique healing journey and I'm exactly where I need to be right now. I'm learning to work with my body, not against it. So I'm learning to understand what my body's telling me. I'm learning to understand what my symptoms mean, and what I need to do to support my body to heal. Every step I take towards health brings me closer to my dream of being a mother. And I think that's really important, is to understand that just saying you've got this goal of I want to be a mother is a very big goal. And that's like saying I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I can't think of the mountain. The Himalayas, Mount Everest. That's an easier one to say. And you're not just going to go and climb it. You've got to work up to it. You've got to take steps. It takes many, many, many steps to get there. And when you have got a disease like endometriosis, and there may be other conditions associated with that have occurred, it's about breaking that down. It's about believing that your body knows what it needs. You've just got to listen to it. It's about believing that you know how to find the right people to surround you. It's about understanding that it's not just your physical needs, it's your mental and spiritual needs. And it's about listening to your body and understanding what it needs as part of this, and trying to, like I said, reframe those negative talks into something that's more powerful, that's more understanding, that's more accepting of where you are and of where you want to go. So then part 3 is moving on with creating your vision. So this is the really exciting part. So it's creating your vision for 2025. And you can do this not just for your health and your fertility, but other aspects. And it's really important you do that, because when we look at the circle of life, and this is a tool that I use with my clients, where it's a circle and you can measure off where on a scale of like 1 to 10 on each of those elements you rate. So 10 would be amazing, 1 would be not very good. And we've got a whole suite of things from emotional, physical, and spiritual on that circle of life that include like your health, your job, your spirituality, your creativity, exercise, finances, relationships, whole host of things. Because how we are as a whole in relation to all of those things will depict how we're feeling in life. So yes, okay, we might be struggling with our health, which has a knock-on effect with our finances. It can also have a knock-on effect with our relationships. And so it's important to look at all of that. Are you fulfilled with your job? Is your job actually not fulfilling and it's having a knock-on effect on your health, for example? Are you overworking, putting too much into your work, and therefore it's having this kind of like big effect on your health and your relationships, for example? And actually that's the thing that you need to revisit more than anything else, and everything else kind of like falls into place. So it's really good to understand that when you're coming to creating this vision is understanding where you're at with each of these things. I will be putting the circle of life into the podcast goodie bag. This is something that I do with my one-to-one clients, my group clients, and will be in the membership as well, so that you can do this exercise and you can see where you're at, you can see where you need improvement, and you can use this for helping you to create your vision for 2025. So we're going to do this quite differently. Instead of just focusing on your end goal, like I said, of having a baby, we're going to create a holistic vision that encompasses your whole well-being. That's your physical, mental, and spiritual being. And I think that's really, really important to understand those elements. Now, something fascinating I want to share with you about vision work. According to human design, something I really, really got into recently, because it helps explain a little bit about us each individually, is we actually have the ability to manifest in different ways. Now, some of you will be specific manifestors, which means that you have the natural ability to envision exactly what you want with precise detail. Now, if this is you, you might find yourself clearly picturing specific outcomes, like I want to reduce my pain levels by 50% by June, or I see myself practicing yoga 3 times a week, or I would like to live in this house with a pretty front door with flowers growing around it and the garden looks like this, and when you go into the room it feels bright and airy, and there's like a table that's of a certain way and the kitchen's going to look a certain way. So that's kind of like a specific manifestor, someone who sees things very visually, and this is where your vision board can be really detailed and really precise. Now, others of you are non-specific manifestors, and you connect more deeply with the energy and the feeling of what you desire, okay? So this is where you might not see the exact path or how you want things to feel, how you want things to be seen, but you can feel the essence of how you want to feel in the future, how you want to feel when you're pregnant, how you want to feel when you're holding a baby, how you want to feel when you're with your husband or partner, how you want to feel when you're in a job that fulfills you. And so it's about that kind of like that feeling. It's not necessarily being able to see. So, or you can sense that you're more in tune with your menstrual cycle, for example. So your vision board might be more abstract. It might be more focusing on colors, on feelings, on sensations that represent your desired state of being. So just be aware of that. It might be that you need to write down how you're feeling. You might not be able to find the pictures that are precise, and this is okay. So if that's you, again, this is okay. No, neither way is better than the other. It's about honoring your natural way of creating and manifesting. So listen to what resonates more deeply with you as we go through this exercise. So a couple of things I want you to think about. How do you want to feel in your body? What would a good day look like? What would your ideal relationship with your fertility journey look like? And how do you want to show up for yourself this year? Now let's break down this into even smaller, achievable goals. Instead of saying, I want to get pregnant, think about goals like, I want to understand my cycle better. I want to develop consistent self-care routines. I want to build a supportive team around me, doctor, other practitioners. I want to reduce my pain levels. I want to reduce my bloating. I want to understand what nutritional deficiencies I have. So this is much more specific in terms of these achievable goals. It might be, I want to understand how I'm feeling. I want to understand what these emotions mean in terms of the, so it's all of these things. It's kind of breaking down. So when you start to break down into those smaller goals, it's much easier then to monitor your progress with these things. So then if you've got a symptom tracker, for example, and you could also add in there, not just symptom tracker, but you again do the life cycle, the circle of life, not life cycle, the circle of life chart. And again, you do this like a month after you've first done it, and then again a month later, and you see how you improve in all areas, where there are some areas that you really are stuck on and you don't know how to move forward with that. So I just talking about understanding your body better, I just really wanted to share that in this coming week, or actually next week, I really wanted to be able to help support you on this journey. So on January the 8th, I'm hosting a free webinar where we'll dive deep into understanding your unique symptoms, because this is the thing, every woman's endometriosis journey is different. And when you truly understand what your symptoms are telling you, you can then give your body exactly what it needs to heal. I have got a great post on Instagram, which is talking about the kind of like more hidden symptoms behind endometriosis that help you understand what's going on in your body. And this post is actually the post that is most liked, most shared, most commented on, is some of these hidden symptoms. And they give an indication of what's going on with your immune system, for example, with allergies. A lot of people don't realize that those allergies are all related to endometriosis. So for those of you who are ready then to take action right away, I'm also then running a 7-day mini cleanse starting January the 14th. So during this cleanse, we'll not only focus on the physical healing, but also incorporate this vision and goal setting exercise. For those that haven't done it, maybe this is kind of like the time to do it. We'll also be looking not just at the physical cleanse, but we'll also be looking at a mental cleanse. So it'll be all areas. So it's a holistic, integrative approach to a mini cleanse. So it's not anything big or drastic. It's just a taster so you can see what you would need to do on a bigger scale and how you can feel even doing a mini cleanse. How amazing. So it's a beautiful way to start implementing the reflections that we've discussed today. And it's a really, really good way for you then to start. And if you then found that you've made progress, I will then be rolling that into the membership that I've talked about over the last couple of months that I am very exciting to share. So finally, it's about taking action. So whether or not you join us for these upcoming events, I want you to start taking action on your vision right away. Here's what you can do this week. So write down your vision statement. Identify 3 small achievable steps that you can take this month that's working towards that overall goal. What is it that you can start with? And what I often say to clients is pick the easy things, because when you pick the easy things, your brain then kind of gets a boost because you think, do you know what? I've picked those things have worked, and I'm now ready to do the more complicated things. So pick those low-hanging fruits, those achievable steps that you're going to make this month, and then start noticing the patterns in your symptoms. Monitor them at the beginning. I will put the link in the show notes, but I've got a symptom tracker that you can download if you haven't already got it. like write down and score what your symptoms are, and pick where you actually, some of those symptoms where you score quite low because they are an issue. Maybe have a look and notice how those symptoms change or do not change. Where do you feel worse? Why do you feel worse? Is there something triggering it? When you get stressed, do you find you're more bloated? Do you find you get headaches? Do you find you don't sleep well? So start noticing those patterns this month. Now remember, these goals aren't just stepping stones to pregnancy. They're about creating a foundation of health and well-being that will serve you throughout your entire journey. So it's not just about preparing for pregnancy. It is kind of like the premester. You have a premester before you get pregnant, and investing in this element of you is so incredibly important, because then during pregnancy, once you get pregnant, if you are not in, and you don't have to be 100%, but if you are feeling in pretty good shape, then pregnancy is going to be much easier. It's going to be of lower risk. And then, of course, you've got the postpartum recovery period of time where having a baby, nobody can prepare you for it. It is, you can read all the books in the world. You can think you're prepared. You cannot prepare yourself. But if your body is, got all the nutrients, you've got into good eating habits, you know how to look after yourself, you will then recover so much quicker so that you can then deal with the amazing baby that you have managed to bring into this world. And you will be in a better mental state, and your symptoms are going to not necessarily be triggered as quickly. So it's really important you invest in this beginning journey and see it like this. This is kind of like you're in this journey for the long haul, not just to get to that, because sometimes people get to that kind of like, I'm now pregnant. Oh gosh, what do I do now? And of course there's risk factors then that come after that. So it is really important you see this as a whole journey. So before we wrap up, I want you to write down one powerful vision statement for 2025. Make it specific if that's you, if you can do that. If you don't, write how you feel. Make it personal. And most importantly, make it feel true to you. Okay. And this may take some time, some space. And what's interesting, something I learned the other day, it's, and I think I mentioned it in a previous podcast, and it's a technique used in EMDR, which I talked about with Kat back, I think, in an earlier episode 49 or something like that. In this, it's to do with how when you're walking and your arms are swinging. So it applies to when you're running or when you're cycling, for example. So when you have your arms and your legs moving in accordance with each other, and you ask yourself a question, you can answer that question. So it's much easier. I don't know whether you found this, but when you go for a walk or you go for a run and you're pondering over something, or a swim, if you're that's what it's called, bilateral movement. If you're doing the bilateral movement, and the quicker you do that bilateral movement, so for example on a run, if you ask yourself a question, the answer will come to you fairly quickly. So if you are uncertain about what your vision is for 2025, go for a walk and just ask yourself what you think your vision is. Ask yourself some yes or no questions. That's sometimes easier, and you can kind of try and see how your body feels to it, and just walk and think, and you may find that the answer comes to you. So as I said before, if you're ready to dive deeper into understanding your body and creating positive change, don't forget to register for our January the 8th webinar. The link should be in the show notes. And if it's not, you will receive an email if you're on our email list. And if you're not on the email list, then definitely get onto the email list. The link is definitely in the show notes for that. And then, of course, if you feel like diving into more detail, then we've got the 7-day mini cleanse starting January the 14th for 7 days. So thank you for sharing this time with me today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear this as well. And I'd love it if you left a review, because this really does help share the podcast to many thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who are also in the same position as you. You're not alone. That would also benefit from this. So until next time, be gentle with yourself, and remember, you are so much stronger than you know. You are not alone. Take care. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found some useful tips and actions you can take away and put into practice. If you loved listening, be sure to subscribe so you'd never miss an episode. It would be amazing if you could take a minute to leave an Apple or Spotify review. Your feedback helps us reach more women who might benefit and keeps the podcast going strong, and it only takes a second. If you know someone who would love to listen to this episode, please share it with them. So this season, I'm introducing the podcast goodie bag, where you will get access to a range of fantastic freebies contributed from our guests. To do this, you just have to sign up to the Fertility mailing list, which is where you'll be the first to hear my inner thoughts, tried experiences, and the latest products and service launches. The link to the podcast goodie bag sign-up page is in the show notes below. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next week for another episode.